and welcome to the Combinations Podcast, the podcast from North Staffordshire Combined Healthcare NHS Trust. And today we're out on site. We're doing another visit. This time it's at the Windmills Charity, and we're here because it's been part of our community grant. I'm joined with Rachel Walliscroft, who's part of community engagement, who we've worked a lot doing these projects, and obviously it's nice to be out on site. How are you doing, Rachel?
I'm really well, thank you. Happy to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about the community grants and how windmills are part of our side of the NHS?
Absolutely. So at North Staffordshire Combined Healthcare Trust, we had a transformation programme over, I think it's been 5 years, and as part of the last grant round, there was a focus on younger people. Part of that grant round, Windmills was successful, and that's why we're here today to see their amazing work and what that entails.
Well, shall we meet them? Shall we say hello?
Absolutely. Would you like to introduce yourselves, ladies?
Yes, morning. So my name's Zara. I'm a registered nurse that specialises in adults, and I've got Leanne next to me.
Good morning. Oh, I'm a paediatric nurse, and Zara and I met when we were working together on adult ITU.
A while ago now.
Yeah.
Yes.
10 years ago.
Yes, yeah. So we worked together on adult ITU in a role where we would support patients when they were dying to fulfil their wish for organ donation. And part of that role was service delivery in the hospital and trying to change practice. And one of the practices that we tried to change was getting children involved when someone close to them was going to die. And Leanne worked with a national charity called Winston's Wish, where she developed a training package that we could roll out to our nurses on the unit. And it was in one of those training days as we were driving home, weren't we? And the sky was shining really blue. It was really sunny, wasn't it? We'd had an absolutely brilliant day, hadn't we? Loads of engagement off the nurses. And it was a blue sky moment of, we need to be putting something in place because these children have got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, because we talked about there being nothing from Manchester down to Cheltenham.
Yes.
We're like, oh, we should do something about that.
And quite naively, we're like, oh, we need to change that. And I think some of that came from our own personal experiences of childhood and seeing people close to us that have died. We've had very, very different experiences, haven't we? In the sense of Leanne's had a couple of relatives. Was it your?
My nana, granddad and my uncle all died within a short space when I was 12 to 13.
And you were involved in
Completely
that, weren't
involved, yeah. I went to see my uncle at the chapel arrest and were involved in every step of the way.
Yeah, and my experience
was very different, wasn't it?
Completely different. My dad died when I was 4. He'd been diagnosed with a terminal illness as I was a young baby, and because of the rarity of his illness, had to go to Surrey to have his treatment. So as a young baby, as a young child, I've got no memories at all of my dad. He's just someone that's in a picture that I've been told is my dad. But at the same time, without having the memories, I also grieve for someone that I don't understand what I'm grieving for, because he was never spoken about. I don't know anything about him. It was just really, really difficult for my mum to talk about him because it was such a quick illness and a quick death, and she was left with 2 young kiddies. So 2 very, very different experiences that have sort of got us here to where we are today with Windmills, really. And I think it comes across when we're looking after the children, doesn't it, our experiences, because we're very much wanting to advocate for the children to be involved, to have a voice, to be given choices, and to be as involved as they want to be, so that when their loved one has died, they then don't have any regrets, they don't have any lasting questions, and it doesn't impact on their grief in a negative way. So Windmills is very different and unique in the sense of we try and get involved when someone's had a terminal illness, and we prepare those children for the death of their loved one, and we'll initially go in if families want us to break the news that someone's poorly and that we know that they're going to die at some point in the near future. We can do that with families there, without families. We very much go with the flow.
There's never a plan.
No, there's never a plan other than you know, what the disease process is and what we need to, what information we need to go. Everything else is just read by the room, isn't it, and read by the child themselves.
Yeah, there's no two that are ever the same, or even within the same family, different ages. It's very much a fluid service delivery, isn't it?
Yeah, so the sooner we can get that referral, the sooner we can break that news to the children and then start supporting them. And that support is done either in schools, colleges, at home. We have got a new premises that we're looking at getting a therapy room set up. We're just in the process of doing that, which we can come back to in a bit. But that support is done face to face on a regular basis, depending on where the loved one is with their disease, but also dependent on how much time the kids want to see us and how many questions or things they want to ask or what their behaviour's like. And we'll do things like explaining what the disease process is, because some people don't know what cancer is, they don't know what a long-term medical condition is. We'll explain how it might affect their loved one, the kind of things that they might see, the kind of things that their loved one might be feeling, so it might have an impact then on how that person is around the children. They might be less tolerant of certain things, or they might be scared, and it's giving the children the skills to have a little bit more empathy with what their loved ones are going through. But what that does also is it takes the elephant out of the room. It opens up that communication with the family, because the adults in the family don't feel like they need to remove that information away from the children. They actually open up conversations, don't they?
They do, yeah.
And it what it does in a family is it unites them, and it gives that element of trust back to the children that they are going to be involved and they are going to be given the information and that they can do what they want with that. And like I said earlier, it takes the element of regret out of the way as well, doesn't it?
It gives the family a bit of control back in a world where everything's very medicalised, everything's taken away from them.
Yeah.
So it allows them to come together and start their grieving journey, because they're grieving from the minute that terminal diagnosis has been received, aren't they? And it's allowing them to do that and giving them permission almost, isn't it? And it sounds quite dark and like really sad what we do, but it's ace. We have the most amazing times, don't we? And seeing kids through their time with us go from not knowing what's going on, knowing there's little bits, they've heard conversations, they've heard words, putting two and two together and coming up with 20 and giving them that information and allowing them to understand it in their own way, whether they've got SEND needs, whether they're just confused, whether they're a teenager that just grunt at us. It's seeing the progression of them is amazing, isn't it? And the whole reason why we started was to try and help reduce mental health crises when they're older. And we know from the very, very small amount of research that's been done with bereaved kids that they're more likely to take part in criminal activity, particularly knife crime, or more worryingly, they're 40% more likely to either attempt or be successful in a suicide attempt. And that's particularly if they've been bereaved of a parent or a sibling. And if we can help stop even just one kid going down that path, giving them the information to make it a little bit nicer, and we always say inject a little bit of Windmill sparkle into a dark time. And it's working so far, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's fab to say.
Yeah. And one of the things that we do throughout all of our support is we do a lot of memory making. So the kids will work with us on certain things that mean something special to them and their loved one. And like Leanne's already said, it'll be different between siblings and the loved one, because each sibling will have a different experience of that loved one growing up. And we'll come up with different ways that they can use experiences to get a toolbox of memories, is what we call it, because then after that person's died, they continue to live on in a different way with those children. And when those children start to go through, profound moments in their life, it might be an 18th birthday, it might be when they get engaged, when they have their own children, when they reach a milestone birthday. These are the moments when that person who has missed really comes to the forefront. You know, they might be getting on with life, but it's those moments where it comes back and almost slaps them in the face. And if they can look at back at those moments with a smile on the face, yes, it's still sad, and it should be sad, because that's what love is all about, and that's what grief is. It's just an extended way of loving somebody different to how they were when they were here in you know, their lifetime. But the memories help to turn what might be a moment of silence into a smile, into a memory. If that child goes on to have children of their own, that person's memory is lived then through the grandchildren. Your nan would have loved to do this. I remember doing this when I was younger, and we're now going to do it. So it's new traditions, and it's a resilience that they learn, because unfortunately people are going to die, and it's about not protecting them and shielding them away from the information. It's about actually involving them at a pace that is comfortable and understandable for them, and done in a supportive way. So we always give the analogy of they're a broken wall. It's just been absolutely trashed. The bricks are everywhere, and what we're doing is we're trying to rebuild that wall, and it won't be rebuilt in the same way, but it will be rebuilt in a different way, and it will be solid. And there'll be cracks there, because you know, you can't go through losing somebody and come out the same person. So it will be different. There will be cracks, but it will be built back up, and they will be able to get.
It'll be beautiful.
Yeah, but it's in their own little way, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've
it's unique
rebuilt
to
it.
them.
Absolutely.
So we've been going now 6.5
years.
6.5 years, which doesn't seem like a lot of time, but at the same time, at the same time it is. In that time, we've seen hundreds of children.
Over 800 referrals we've had in.
Yeah, we've still see some of the children now that we very first saw in our first year, and they're doing amazing. They still celebrate their loved one at certain times, don't they?
Yeah.
They've grown up to be very resilient, solid children, haven't they?
Yeah.
Families have, you know, been able to talk about the loved one that's died very openly.
Yeah, very, very openly, yeah. And we went at Christmas, and they got the tree we bought them. The Christmas tree was out in the front yard, and it's Sarah's tree, isn't it, that's out there.
Yeah, it's still going strong, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's lovely to see that they've learnt and adopted those traditions as their own, haven't they?
Yeah. We've had some families that have become Windmills families now, and they help with fundraising. They'll do community events or nominate us when community events want to back a charity.
Got someone running the London Marathon for us next year.
Yeah, and it was his sister-in-law that died very, very suddenly, didn't she? She was only young and had
31.
2 children. So he's doing the London Marathon for us next year, but he's also done a trail run before.
A 50-mile ultra, he has.
So yeah, lots of families are still wanting to be involved. We've also got extensions of their families and friends that have got involved with Windmills that are supporting us also. And as we're getting out there more and more, there's businesses locally that are helping us out, so much so that we've moved to a new premises in Stoke on Campbell Road, and it's a huge place with lots and lots of potential. And so many businesses have helped us to renovate it, because it was in need of
in desperate need.
A lot of work, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's still a work in progress, but we're hoping that we might conjure up some more support locally.
Yeah. So we're getting a kids therapy that's being designed, a kids therapy room, that's being designed at the moment, so kids can come to us. We've got a space where we can hold events or movie nights for the children, or
community events, to get more people
You've
involved.
got basically a blank canvas.
Completely.
We have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as an introduction, I'll just let you run with that. Honestly, it's amazing just to hear it, because we had a chat prior to this, just getting to know the service, looking at the new facilities, and I was like, we'd be fine in the podcast, and you've just ran for it, and it really does show how, like, one idea in a car, 6 years of hard work, because we haven't even talked about how much hard work it is to set it up as a charity, and all the hours that you would have spent, because it sounds easy just as you're saying it now, like it's obviously there's a big passion for it. Obviously you guys have got experience of, you know, trauma and death at a young age, so and a medical background. So, you know, you can tell by the way you guys talk that the foundations have always been there.
Yeah.
And obviously, you start to talk about this facility, which, you know, it's going to be amazing when you get it done. It is like something you see on the TV with like a project house, and you know, there's a lot of work. But when this is done, this is going to be an amazing facility for young people and the youngsters of Windmills. And one thing I will mention, because you mentioned about bringing a bit of colour into their lives. Obviously, your logo it is the rainbow. It's a lovely windmill logo, and I think the elements of what windmills are and just building that sort of sense of, I don't want to say community, but just building that sense of just using your analogy, building that wall back, giving them the skills to go through the trauma and understand what they're doing. You can really tell that, well, it's been hard work, hasn't it, to get here?
Oh, it's, endless weekends, nights, lots of blood, sweat and tears, and family, like, just allowing us to do it. I don't think... Well, without our husbands being so understanding, I don't think we'd have ever got it off the ground, would we? But it's been a lot of work, but blooming heck, it's been worth it.
It has been worth it. It's tiring. We do still work full time as nurses alongside running the charity and seeing the children and renovated Windmills HQ, and it's keeps us out of mischief. Is what we always say, because we haven't got time to make it.
No, we haven't. But we can see the vision that we've got for it's amazing, isn't it? And bringing the community together, whatever that might look like, whether it's other local charities coming in to hold coffee mornings, hiring out our conference room for a donation. There's just so much potential, which is great, and it'll help to get our name out there, but also offer a helping hand to other people that might be struggling. Because although Windmills is us and it's what this place is all about, it's equally about not letting anybody else struggle, and it doesn't matter why, where or whatever. You know, we would like to think that we'd be here to support, wouldn't we?
And what sort of geographic do you cover? Because obviously we're in Stoke-on-Trent now, but how far does the windmill blow?
The whole of Staffordshire.
We were a little bit naive, weren't we, when we first registered?
Yeah.
We didn't realise how big Staffordshire actually was. So
having been born and bred here,
yes. Yeah.
But we manage it, don't we?
But it came from a place, again, of not wanting to leave children out, and why should it be a postcode lottery?
Yeah.
So our blue sky thinking was that we would love to roll this out nationally, but obviously we had to start somewhere. And Stoke and Staffordshire, it's split into so many different regions. We were like, well, you can't look after someone in Newcastle and then not look after someone in the Moorlands or this, that and the other. So in the end we were like, right, okay, let's just do the whole county. Which we do still do.
We do.
We do it without a waiting list as well, and we look after children of all ages. You know, so it's just
being clever with our diaries, juggling, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, we do. We cover a large area, but we, you know, at some point in the future, we would love to be able to extend our service with regards to having volunteers, having more people like me and Leanne that can actually do the forward-facing role with children. So there's training opportunities there. You know, there's another business plan for the sudden death side of things, because whilst our skill set specialises mainly in preparing children, we were very aware of normal bereavement counselling doesn't actually start until 12 weeks after someone has died, which is right. That's how it should be, to allow someone to adjust to the change. But in the certain specific situations with sudden death, such as murders, suicides or traffic incidents or something like that, where someone's taken away very, very suddenly and these children are left not really knowing what's going on, and parents not really knowing how to explain, especially suicide and things like that.
That's a real sticking point,
we have a
isn't
lot
it?
of parents going, how do I even explain this?
Yeah.
So we will provide like remote support for that, won't we, and help to prepare them for a funeral, because a lot of our children have never been to funerals, so we do a lot of funeral prep with them of what to expect, that it is sad, but those tears are tears of love, and just turning it around so they have a very different perspective. It's not all doom and gloom, it's a celebration of that person, and we celebrate someone being born, so why shouldn't we equally celebrate someone that's dying as well, and all of those people that are there because their person has had a lasting impact on them. So we turn everything around, don't we, to make it a bit more positive for them, and that's what death and dying should be.
It should.
So
you're changing culture, aren't you?
We are completely.
And I mean, your favourite is we always used to celebrate people that died in the parlour. You always had your best room, and the community would come through and see them, and we're very much head in the sands, and you can't say that, you can't say this. But why not? Yeah. And seeing the difference it makes to kids. And when we last did our figures, we were so proud. 97% of the kids that we've seen haven't needed counselling afterwards. Wow. That's huge. And even if it's only short term, and perhaps they need a little bit more work later on, in that, in their childhood, they've not needed anything else, and
which frees up the service then to allow other people to
desperately
engage.
Under pressure, isn't it? And
but even giving them information, such as like we had a young, I think he was 4 at the time, and his mum had died, and he said, how do I know it's my mum and that's in that coffin? And it's these innocent questions that as adults socially we just accept. But kids have this curiosity that some adults, especially grandparents, will go, oh no, don't talk like that, we can't answer that question, they'll just dampen it down. Whereas we'll explain about it, won't we? And he wanted to open the coffin.
Can we take the lid off just to check?
It's funny because I had a grandparent die when I was in middle school, and they were the same inquisitive questions that I had, because I wasn't. They wouldn't go take me to the morgue and let me see him in his final rest place. So it's definitely that sort of challenging that stigma, and also turning a passing into something to celebrate. So because that we all go through death, we can't get away from that. Now I wanted to touch on, obviously you're talking about that emergency sort of care that's on your roadmap to develop. Obviously the roadmap itself started in 2020 in the car, and a journey after that. Can we talk about some of the hoops you had to jump through to get to a charity, because that was just a conversation in the car. However long it was a brilliant journey by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it was.
A nice sunny day, but obviously there's a lot of stuff to get through. How's it been to set up as a charity?
I'm glad we didn't know what we had to do before we did it. We were very naive, but
driven by passion.
Yeah, always.
And passion and naivety in equal amounts, I reckon.
It was about an 18-month journey, wasn't it? The charity commissioner really, really helpful in laying out what you have to do to become a charity, and that involves process mapping the whole of the country to make sure that you're not treading on toes locally in particular, but looking what's out there and filling gaps rather than trying to replicate really good work that's already been done,
and how you can benefit other charities as well.
Absolutely, and link in. So you're not treading on toes and not duplicating. And it took a long time, but we had some ace conversations with other charities that had either in their infancy or really well established, and we had loads of really good support and help, didn't we, from those. We had to look at legislation, which, I mean, we were governed by legislation in our nursing roles, but this was a whole different ball game.
And would you say the first 2 years then was really just building?
This was before we got our charity number,
so
and then
which is crazy, isn't it? Because
2018
we started.
Which is it's amazing to think that actually, like, the idea to actually being able to do it takes so much thinking and writing it out, but that's what's made it have the legs that it stands on 4 years after getting that sorted.
Solid foundation.
And you can see a difference when we are liaising with other charities. You can see a difference of those charities that still have the two however many co-founders there that have set it up, compared to those charities that have had people that are coming in and employing them, because the story and the way that it comes across is very, very different.
Yeah.
And it's different. It's different for us because we know it inside out, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
It's ours, and we know where we want it to go, but we also know where we've been and the hard work and the many nights that we've sat in each other's gardens.
Well, I'm going to tell the listeners here how passionate you both are. The fact that you've got massive tattoos on your forearms of the logo of different varieties of the windmill, and that just shows how connected you are. The story that you carry with you with this charity, it just.
And for us, that personally is it went back to again of what do we want the logo to look like, what do we want it to mean, and we spent hours, didn't we, going back.
You
and
certainly
forth.
can't have a rebrand now.
No. And it was always a windmill that a child holds that you can put in the garden, that spins, that's very colourful. And it was the picture of seeing how happy a child is with that, but the fact that it's turning 360 degrees and we're turning green.
What I find quite interesting is when you were talking about the families of the windmills, I was thinking that your youngsters or clients, whatever you want to call them, are like seeds. When you get them, they're like seeds, and you plant them in the garden, and year on year they grow into these big sunflowers, which next to it has a windmill, and that's what I was visualizing. So I can really understand like the ethos of the logo, the branding.
We wanted it to be fun and
it needed to be bright, because you think of death, you think black is the most commonly associated, and that's not what it should be.
It's also not clinical either.
No.
Because this isn't about, you're obviously connected to the NHS through our community grants, and obviously we support you and all that, but obviously for your youngsters, they're not patients.
No.
It's about building a wall, not making them better.
Yes.
So I'm using your terms back at you now.
No, but we can't make that better. We can never ever make it better. But what we can do is give them the resilience, the foundations to grow, to become resilient adults within our community, to allow them to be effective in their grieving, and give them back something. When they're thinking of their loved one who's died, it shouldn't ever be with the first thought is, oh God, they've died. It should be, oh my God, remember when we used to do this, and oh, I loved it when we did that. And it should be with a smile.
Because that's what grief's about, isn't it? We don't think. I mean, sometimes it can be hard, especially with palliative care and things like that.
Oh God,
but I think, to be honest, that's more for the adults and the parents, not the kids. But they can go through it. Yeah. Obviously, the stresses of strain, and we've done stuff with the caring, haven't we? Rachel talked about carers and like how that has impact on people's lives. So, obviously, as a service, it is about just giving them a bit of colour back, a bit of like a break.
It is, and normalising it.
Yeah, and we've had a mum has allowed us to talk about her. Mary was 3 when we met her, and Dad had not long received, only a couple of months into his terminal diagnosis, wasn't he? And we worked with her for a long time, over months, as Nigel was dying. And the day he died, Mary was on his bed with him, and he hadn't opened his eyes for days. We were tickling her and playing, and she was squealing with laughter, and he opened his eye. Oh, and she was buzzing, wasn't she? And she helped us do handprints of him. And we talked about what happens when you die, like you're not breathing, your eyes don't open. And we took her to the funeral directors after he had died, and she got it, didn't she? One of us picked her up. Or Mum had picked her up.
She was trying to open his eyes.
Yeah, and she was like, oh.
And then explaining why she couldn't do that.
She put her hand on his chest and said, Daddy's not breathing, Daddy's died. And it was like, oh my God. I still get goosebumps. That
was the golden nugget for us. We were like, yes.
She's got it. Yeah. And even at his funeral, she was dancing around his coffin with bubbles that we'd taken for her, and she loved it, and it was.
And if you think
magical.
about, like, that's just one success story. That's one child's life that is going to be easier.
Yeah.
I guess is kind of the word, isn't it? Because like she would have been okay, but with your services, that's just made it such a nicer experience to go through, especially
a special memory.
Oh gosh,
and for us it's a lovely memory.
Oh, it's great, yeah, because
it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
But even things like we've got groups of children together that we've worked with or are working with, and we've taken them for days out in what we call our party bus. So we've got a 7-seater like multi-people carrier that's all logoed up, so you can't miss it.
It's pretty cool. I can see it right now in the sun out there.
We love her.
She's a she, and she's called
she's
Party,
a party
Buzz.
buzz.
And we've taken them to places like Peak Wildlife Park, but it's a way of getting some peer support. And for us, initially it was just to take the children out for the day, to give the parents a bit of a break, to give the children a day where they're allowed to be kids. Feed them full of sugar, let them have fun, very little rules.
And then hand them back.
And then hand them back, yeah,
You're welcome.
basically. But it very, very quickly turned into children forming bonds with other children, if they were of a certain age and parents were okay, swapping phone numbers, and then having that peer support, because the one thing in common with all of those children is they have lost somebody, or they're going to lose somebody, and they then don't feel alone. They're not isolated, because what we're talking about is something that is quite rare. I mean, to us it doesn't feel rare because we see it day in, day out, but it is still quite rare. And these children then don't feel alone. They then can share experiences. It normalises it a little bit more, and they'll be going, oh, well, it feels like I'm feeling the same way as they do, so that's okay. I don't need to question it, because we're in a world now where we question everything. We see stuff on social media.
And you said earlier, the youngsters, this was off the podcast, but you said that there's kind of that common ground anyway. When you go out in the van, they already know what's going on. So it's more about, okay, that's happening, but what are we actually experiencing? If it is going to the zoo or seeing like the seaside or something like that, it's more about giving them that experience, isn't it?
Yeah, and allowing to be free.
And normalising it, isn't it? And I think
massively.
when we spoke earlier, I think when you talked about peer support, I think that's just so incredibly important.
Yes.
To understand that you may be having a bad day, and that other person understands those emotions and the roller coaster of it. So, and those relationships hopefully will take them further on in life and hopefully understand the grieving process. But I think this place will massively provide opportunities for peer support moving forward, which is great, because you've got so much space.
I was going to say, shall we talk about the facility? Because it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? Obviously, you've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
Do we want to tell the listeners what it was before?
It
was an aquarium and exotic pets shop.
And it's huge.
It's just under 6,000 square feet. It's got its own parking. We're completely self-sufficient, aren't we? It's all on one level as well, so we are reasonably accessible. There are things that we can put in place for people that may need some kind of accessibility.
It's also cool in the summer.
It's very cool.
Yes.
Really cool.
That was the one thing I noticed.
Freezing in the winter.
We should do ice skating, maybe.
You can work on that, but I think, to be honest, with the heat we've had the last couple of weeks, I'll take this. No air conditioning. Yeah, it's brilliant, honestly.
But yeah, we've got a space that is multifunctional, really. So we're currently sitting in our conference room, which we've had a lot of help from local businesses with regards to decorating and donating of items, and it's a big conference room that we hopefully will be able to hire out for a donation to local businesses, other community support groups. It's quite what's the word? It's separate slightly to the rest of the building. So it's self-sufficient, that's the word I was trying to go for, and can be used by many people.
I think you've got a blank canvas space.
Very.
You know, there's a lot of work that you need to do, as we've mentioned. That's not a bad thing, but you know that this is the journey that you're on. But I think you've got a lot of potential here, and I think we do have to remember you're still a charity, and it is the hard work that you guys put in that keep this going.
As well as working full time.
Well, that's
working full. I mean, we've had some businesses locally that have made a massive difference helping us with regards to volunteering the time to even just paint a wall or something like that, and it's been
huge
brilliant.
help, hasn't it?
It's moved it on far quicker than if it was me and Leanne painting.
And also, as a charity, you've done stuff we've seen on the website to raise money.
Yes.
Our London Marathon this year.
Just the London Marathon,
the London Marathon. Well, I think I put a lot of hard work in cheering and running around London after you.
Yeah, you got a medal for being my support network.
Was one physical and one mental pain?
Yeah. I mean, the training, I was always on the phone to you, wasn't I, going, I can't do this. I can't do another 13 miles. I have hit rock
And
bottom.
do you think that same blue skies in the car, was that knowing the passion and what you do it for, did that push you along to do it?
It was
a
mixed.
reason why, yeah.
It was mixed. So this year would have been the 80th birthday of my dad, and it was a way of honouring him and bringing my story of how I want other children to have a different experience and promoting Windmills at the same time.
You just took the words out, because I was thinking, you're using the things you teach here to the children.
Yeah.
You built your own bricks there, didn't you? You set yourself a goal and you chose a way to celebrate a life instead of,
Definitely.
putting some flowers. Not that that's a bad thing, but, it's about just getting the most out of a situation.
Well, his birthday was 2 days before the marathon, wasn't it? So it was a no-brainer that it was going to happen. It's been a lifelong dream of mine. I used to sit and watch it as a young girl, 5 or 6, going, one day that will be me.
And you were there.
And I did it.
And the lovely thing, you had a cape, didn't you,
Yes.
that you wore, and some of our families donated money, and they had a ribbon with their loved one's name on, so it wasn't just you that you were taking round, was it?
Yeah, so the comments that I had off people, so it
I was wondering where you were going with that.
it was a cape that I had, and at the top it said "in memory," and then I had loads of different
Beautiful,
multicoloured
wasn't it?
ribbons that echo our logo with the name of the family on. There was runners that were coming up from behind me, so they could see the cape. It was really striking. If you go on our social
bright
media, you'll
orange,
be able
wasn't it?
to see it. And I was like walking.
You look like a fruit salad
I
sweet.
didn't I? I was orange and everything. And
It's pretty normal for the London Marathon, though, isn't it?
it is, yeah, you
But
were
I tell
fast today,
I stood out quite
did.
well, actually.
Yeah.
Other than those people that were in fancy dress, I stood out quite well. But I'd have people coming up, running behind me, going, "Oh my God, that is amazing. The cape is beautiful. But how sad that you've lost all of those people." And I was like, "I'm just looking after them for the day. I'm not that unfortunate. I was like, one of the ribbons is mine. I'm just looking after them. I'm the caretaker for the day there." But for the families, it's another story that the memory of their loved ones gone round London.
Yeah.
So it's something else for the kids to celebrate.
And you packaged them up beautifully after in a card, and each family had them with the little story inside.
Yeah.
So it's another thing, isn't it, for them to keep. Oh, it was great, and it allowed more conversations to take place, didn't it? And
I was running along, and there was like little kids on the sideline high-fiving me, and I had my name printed on my vest, because that's one of the things they say, don't they? And there was the amount of people that were going, "Come on, Zara, you can do this," and I was just like, "Wow, this is amazing!" And Tower
Spurs
Bridge.
you on, doesn't it? When you do a sporting event and you have a real crowd, that energy, if you could bottle it up and sell it, it'd be just amazing, wouldn't it? And I think
you'd be a millionaire.
I think
Definitely.
And Tower Bridge is my favourite part of it.
Yeah.
The roar on the bridge is like nothing you've ever experienced.
No.
And oh God, I cried. And we were waiting for you on there, and you knew we were going to be there.
Yeah.
Oh God,
that was it's the halfway point.
Yeah.
And as you're coming up to it, there's a street you come up, and then you turn right, and it takes you up to Tower Bridge. And before I even got to the corner, I could hear the crowds, and I text you, "I'm coming. I'm not coming." And it was just, it was brilliant. And I was running up looking for you, like, "Where are you? Where are you?" And we stopped, didn't we? Had a bit of a hug and stuff like that. And then off I went, carried on again.
That's the hard part, when you're running and you stop and then your legs go, "Wait, we're not done."
We've got another half to do.
But the question is, why is there no photo in this? Oh, there is. Have I just not seen
it's
it?
in the little hallway.
I was going to say, it needs to be on like a massive print of that Tower Bridge. It'd be...
We've done some little photos for now, haven't we, that are in a little frame. But one of the visions for the main entrance is to do a bit of a journey and have something printed on the wall that shows our journey.
That would be lovely.
So that'll be something.
You need to get the car that you guys sat in on a stand in there, just like this was the idea. I think it's.
I don't know what car it was.
Need a picture of it.
Let's just hope it's not
mine,
been.
It was my car.
Yeah.
I don't know which one, but
Yeah.
Oh,
But
where it all began.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? And obviously, we don't get many charities on the podcast. We haven't. Well, this might be a new thing that me and Rachel need to pick up on, because just hearing the story, and I want to get to the community grant and how that's going to impact. I don't know if Rachel, you want to say something, because you obviously wrote the community grant.
I think the grant has enabled you to do what really spoke about and the success of today, of what you've done so far. And I suppose it's how do you sustain that moving forward following the grant rounds, and where does that take you next?
Yeah.
I mean, that's always a question for charity, sustainability, and we work really hard. Bids are my kind of thing. So we write to the trust and grants that are available, and we're lucky enough to receive multi-year funding from Children in Need last year, and Trust House Forte, so they will sustain us for the next 3 years, only on a 1 day a week basis though.
It's still amazing though.
Oh, it's amazing, yeah, it is. But what we could achieve so much more if we had more funding come in and we were able to not be nurses anymore and just focus on Windmills.
Yeah, when we were at the beginning and writing our constitution, we spoke at length with the Charity Commission about being able at some point in the future to be employed by the charity, so that the impact on those children and our skill set with our advanced communication, our nursing knowledge and all the other things that comes into that face-to-face support. We were very much, it's important that we are able to utilise those skills to benefit the children. So after multiple backwards and forwards with the Charity Commission, we were able to get that agreed, weren't we, and written in our constitution. So that is where we are at this moment with regards to our programme of growth, of getting me and Leanne actually functioning in the charity for longer each week, because we can directly evidence the impact that we have, just through the 1 day a week that we're doing at the moment. If we could even do that for 2 or 3 days a week and be able to come away from our
It's all part of your roadmap, isn't it? And, and I think, the first 2 years was the building blocks. Then you've done obviously a community side, taking them out on the party bus and doing all the stuff that's helped kids turn grief around, as the logo says. And then you've got this facility which you're now building, and then going long term you want to build this into essentially a business, obviously still a charity, but to be able to run this and hopefully 20 years time it'll be maybe even a 7 day a week hotline calling business, because that's the plan, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And as we mentioned, grief is all part of our lives, so you're always going to have work. That's the way you look at it.
Also, people don't die Monday to Friday.
No.
They can die at any time of day or night. So whilst me and Leanne are still working full time as nurses, we provide the day-to-day support to children, but the other side of it is if there's an imminent death within so many hours and the children want us to be there to help them, to be a part of that dying process, to be at the bedside, and they need us there, as long as we're not working in our nursing contractual roles, we will absolutely be there. So we're providing an on-call service 24/7 as well. All our families know from the very beginning that we do unfortunately have to still work as nurses in order for us to live in our personal lives, and that those are the times where we can't be contacted. And we've always managed to find a way, haven't we?
We have,
Or the loved ones have died when we're not on shift, but at some point we're going to come across.
Well, that's the challenge, isn't it?
Yes.
I think to wrap this up, it's about how this obviously the community grant supporting it. On your website you've got a few charities down the bottom that have supported you, but it is that ongoing support that you need, and that's why having this podcast to talk about it and actually hear the story, hear the legacy, because there's a lot of hard work that you do, and there's a vision there to make a difference for young people going through a time that is going to be pivotal. It's always going to be a point on their timeline that they're going to remember. Well, let's make it a positive experience, and that's how you got to look at it. So is there anything else you guys want to add? Obviously, we can put some links in the description of the podcast to the website, and they can have a look around that and see what the hard work you're doing. Obviously, we want updates. We want to know how the facility's going.
We'll be back.
We'll come in winter and tell you how bad it is.
Oh, you need your thermals.
Bring me coat.
And your acne gloves. I don't think so, haven't we?
No. Yeah.
There'll be stuff after, I'll remember, but
Well, we can always do a part 2, can't we, Rachel?
Absolutely. I'd love to come back. I think it's amazing what you're doing, and you're very special people and doing a great job. But we will definitely be back, won't we, Kyle?
I should hope so.
Yeah, we'll be back in the future.
Just for a coffee.
More than welcome.
But thank you so much for your time and coming on the Combinations podcast. Obviously, for any listeners that are new to the podcast, obviously we do episodes on SoundCloud, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts. We've even posted onto YouTube now, which is fantastic. So, but that's it, really. Yeah, thank you so much for having us and sharing the story. Obviously, there's a lot of, with that, obviously we have the Darwin Centre and all children's services. So it really does tie into the element of community in Stoke-on-Trent for North Staffordshire combined. So, and to be out here and seeing something grow is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.